Farm Journal for December 13th, 2019.
Okay, well, we have come a ways with this. I've done an awful lot of grinding on it, and no, not bad. Not bad. I think the handle may be a little too long, but we'll see. Basic shape, so on, I'm pretty happy with for a first try. So now it is time to drill some holes in this, and that'll be the first step to putting the handle on. And then once we get that all done, then we can move this from its current soft state and harden it up a little bit. Welcome back to the forge one last time in this project. The final shaping is done, but as I said before, I think that the metal has been really nice and soft. The forging has made the metal nice and soft so that it could be shaped, but it's too soft. And so the next thing we'll do is harden it. We'll go through a process of hardening. Forge is warming up. Let's go ahead and get this heating. Here we go. The next part is called annealing. We need to bring the temperature up to about 400 degrees, 425 degrees. Hold it there for about an hour. We'll do that in the oven. And then let it cool to room temperature and then repeat. Okay, I think we're done. Hang on a second. That's good. I think we've gotten this as far as I want to get it this week. The next thing I want to do is put the scales on. By golly, this is a knife. If I had to survive with it right now, I probably could. The rest from here on out is decoration and sharpening. Let's go inside and talk a little bit. That's better. All cleaned up and fresh. So here we are, the end of the second week of our knife making project. Now, last week I talked about developing and maintaining the beginner's mind. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll put the link in the description below. Seeing that video first will make this video make a whole lot more sense. Well, here is where we have ended this week, and except for a little more refined shape and the drilling of 3 holes, it doesn't really look that much different than where we landed last week. Now that's because most of the changes that we wrought this week happened in the internal structure of the metal. So we took this piece of steel from being very soft and malleable and shapeable, for steel, to a place of being hard, but too brittle to be useful, and then finally to a place of being hard enough to take a good sharp edge and keep it, but flexible and tough enough to take a lot of abuse and not break. And of course, that makes me think about life. One aspect of the beginner's mind is that I desire to be a lifelong student. And as a student of life, that combination of hardness and flexibility comes to play. We can become too soft and too malleable spiritually, mentally, even emotionally. And when that happens, I think this is what the Apostle Paul was talking about. He says that we can be tossed back and forth by the waves, blown here and there by every wind of teaching and by the cunning craftiness of people. Carried away by every new fad, our beliefs and opinions and positions set by whatever it was, the last book we read or the last internet article that we happened to run across. Liable to believe and to forward on to everybody we know, every conspiracy-oriented email that comes across our inbox. Knives and minds and spirits, I think, can be too malleable. On the other hand, we can also fall into a place of being too set in our beliefs and positions and opinions that we become too brittle. This knife, just after the quenching, was so set in its shape that had I dropped it on the concrete, it could have shattered like glass. And we can do the same thing. When we are so set in our beliefs and thoughts and opinions, we're unable to adapt, we're unable to change, we're unable to deal with new information, we're unable to learn if that learning challenges what we already know to be true. And then some situation in life comes along and it puts enough stress on our belief system that it can just shatter. Now, in this knife, I achieved the balance between soft and malleable and hard, if I did it right, by giving this metal two types of experiences. First, I heated it very hot, almost 1500 degrees, very quickly, and then cooled it very quickly. That trauma, if you will, hardened and toughened the metal by creating a compact structure of very small crystals. Then I heated the metal slowly to only about 400 degrees, cooled it very slowly, and did this repeatedly. Slow heating and cooling opened up the small compact structure and interspersed it with large metallic crystals, giving the metal flexibility. Reacting to acute stress develops toughness, strength, the ability to know what's what and stick to it, while reacting to more prolonged, long-term but lower grade stress, chronic stress, if you will, creates in us the tendency to be malleable, to be able to adapt and adjust and to grow and to learn. And the combination of the two giving us the flexibility of a healthy mind and a healthy spirit. Now, the balance between the two, I think, is what allows the Apostle Paul in one chapter, a single chapter in the New Testament, that everything we say about God is partial and incomplete. Like looking through a glass darkly. We don't have God figured out. We see kind of a shape, we see kind of a form, but what God is really like and how God works, well, we don't have it all figured out. We've got a lot to learn. And at the same time, in the same chapter, he says, but I'll tell you what, there's three things you can count on, never changing. And that is faith, hope, and love, the greatest of these being love. And so malleability and hardness creating flexibility is a good knife. And the same thing is a good spirit, a good soul, and a good mind. Now that's something to think about. I wonder if you can identify both of those experiences in your life that have the potential to create that flexible balance. I think that's what being a lifelong student does, is helps us recognize in our life experience those two experiences, and helps us get to a place, if we are attentive, helps us get to a place of flexible mind and spirit and soul. Well, I think that's enough for today. We'll see you next time. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and give.